But your personal brand statement is also very important because it gets picked up on LinkedIn. It's SEO. So what I mean by that is Nike has Just Do It. Apple has Think Different. I have the only CEO with a mohawk. Everyone has something different. This guy here has got, a lot of people go with We Are Hiring because they want to actually hire people. So you basically got to go out there with your personal brand statement because your headline follows you everywhere on LinkedIn. So if you post something, it comes up the top. If you comment on something, it comes up. If you basically get tagged by somebody else, it also comes up. If you get found and search, it comes up. If you go on other people's profiles, it comes up. Mine here, Frederick here, and some bloke called Bill Gates. So everywhere you go, your headline follows you around on LinkedIn. So you have to really think about what your headline is, what your keywords are, what your brand positioning wants to be. Everyone's got a certain brand positioning. Or you could use it like Nike is here. She actually does it to promote his business, to prove his business works. So he went, he's the coolest guy in Nashville. Google it to see for yourself. So we did. And he is. He's the coolest guy in Nashville. Imagine he came second. Imagine he was the second coolest guy in Nashville. That wouldn't work so well. It also wouldn't prove his business was great at SEO. So you can use it in different ways. Use the headline as a challenging thing. Change it on a regular basis. And your background picture, the same thing. Imagine your background picture on LinkedIn is marketing, it's advertising. Changing your business, changing your background picture actually markets Scape, for example, or markets your personal brand on a different basis every day. So you look at Andrew here at the Ritz-Carlton. You want to go to that bar in the Ritz-Carlton in Shanghai. Think, wow, that's fantastic. So he's using it, bang, to go for there. Or Dahlia here, who's a young entrepreneur here in Singapore, promoting her business, Euphoric Coaching. So she's using it so you know straight away what she does. Or Ryan here, who just wants you to know he's the top of a mountain and this will soon be on the BBC and Discovery Channel, because that's what he does, climbs mountains, talks about it on TV. Or Jane here has gone with the stage presence, the branding, and the book. So they're the three things she wants you to know about in one swoop, because visuals spell 1,000 words. But LinkedIn's not dynamic. So what I mean by that is if you put a picture on this side on your mobile, it looks like this, basically. So you have to basically adapt your picture. You can't put things in the middle, because if you put something in the middle there, you can't see it on the mobile because the picture moves. So your background picture does not, but your picture does. So you have to really think it through, kind of how you do it, which generally means you have to have something at the top and the right-hand side to actually cope with LinkedIn not being a dynamic platform. So don't do things like this. Lonely and young girl. And we tried to find her because she's in Singapore and she's on that swing all by herself, but no one has ever mentioned her or actually owned up to actually even knowing her. So if you know her, I'd love to know who she is. Albert here felt the need to have human being here, as if someone's going to type into LinkedIn going, I need to find a human being. Dave K went for executive demigod at Miracle Health. I'm sorry, Dave, but that's not a photograph to sell Miracle Health. Shelley went with wife of Stephen Shara. Why would you do that? Why would you have wife of Stephen Shara? Particularly as Stephen did not reciprocate. He has not got husband of Shelley Shara there. And surely he should do. Again, equal opportunities, he should be say he's married just like Dale has. Dale has spouse of owner of a Picosa Mexican restaurant. So he has no brand status by himself, he's just going out with someone who owns a dodgy restaurant in Hong Kong. Lecturer at retired and enjoying time with the family. Does he look like he's enjoying time with the family? I think he'd rather be back at work. And I love this is Sean here, CEO. HSBC, you think, wow, just connected with the CEO of HSBC. Then you look at his profile and you go, head of digital experience. That's not quite the same as a CEO. So basically you run the website. That's not quite being in charge of like 100,000 people in HSBC. So you can't claim something you're not. Don't do this. Managing director. Actually no, PA to the managing director. These are very different things. Don't claim one thing the other. This one here, it's just like, if you're going to claim you won an award, make it up to date. PR People of the Year 2010. So in 2010, he was 2 people and he won an award. But that was 9 years ago. You can't do that. And if you're going to project yourself as being a great keynote speaker like this, it's best to have people in the room, not an empty room, and going out of the room. It's not a great picture to have. Basically, I couldn't sell any tickets. Here's my picture proof to show. And don't do this. I never understand why people do this. I used to work at Uber, Netflix, and Spotify. I used to work at a great company. I haven't mentioned my current company because I don't really like it very much, but I used to work at really cool ones. And people do this. Ex-Google, 46,000 people have got ex-Google on their LinkedIn profiles because they used to work at a cool company and don't anymore. But this guy wasn't even satisfied with that. This guy works at Google and still had to say he used to work at McKinsey and Goldman Sachs. So that's not good enough for him. What's the point of doing that? Don't do that. Think about your own brand now. Think about where you work now. And complete your profile. It's really, really important. Lots of people here don't have completed profiles. That affects your SEO, it affects your search, it affects how people see you. So have your summary and your experience. And your first 3 lines should be the most impactful, because that's the reason why people show more. Bring people in, tell a story, don't just be factual. Tell people a story about why you want them to come and read the rest of your profile. And then fill it out there, and it's your story, because that's the person that people are going to watch and people are going to read. And then add things like videos, for example, which you can play on LinkedIn. Add the company page. So Scape have got a company page that describes what Scape does. You should all copy and paste that into your experience. Hardly any of you actually have. So it'd be good to actually add in your YouTube channel and your website as well. So for you, it is go to About on your Scape page, copy and paste this, put it on your experience, and then at least you have brand consistency over how you describe Scape. Because currently you all describe Scape in a completely different way, which does not communicate the brand in a particularly concise way. And also from a website point of view, you should be linking to this. And I can count on one hand how many people in this room have actually got a link to their website on their LinkedIn profile. Not very many. So you need to be driving people to the Scape website. You can do the About Us section, the What's In section, What's On, the Explore section, anything. Drive people there. You can actually have the power of driving people to the website, which obviously helps the Scape brand. And what else do you do? Add in other things. It's your personal brand. It's not just about Scape. So add in other things. I lecture at NUS, for example, so I put that there. I am also a contributor to the Business Times, so I put that there. I also mentor people at SMU, so I put that there. Because it's part of my personal branding. It also shows other people that they might want a lecturer or a mentor, for example, or someone to contribute. So it lets people know that I do that. Also lets people know from those organizations that I can actually help them too. And then you need to fill out your recommendations and your skills. It's part of your personal branding. So add your recommendations in there. Add your try and get endorsed by people who are good at that particular skill, because it has more power as a result of it. Put your awards in there, put your publications, and tell people where you are. A lot of people in Singapore travel. You know, very regional people, so all over the place. So I was in, Zurich and Cologne, so I put a picture of saying Zurich and Cologne. In Tokyo, change the picture, change the background picture. Sydney, Auckland, Hong Kong, change it all over the place. I like the way Lani does this with a little plane, next stop Greece. Every single time she travels, because she travels all over the world, she has this. One Kaufman here who spends 50 days outside of Singapore but lives here, is actually a Singaporean. Actually keynote speech leadership workshop in Sacramento, then on to San Diego. When he's in Singapore, he actually says he's in Singapore, because he's rarely in Singapore. So when people want to meet him in Singapore, he lets people know on LinkedIn. Because don't forget, this travels around everywhere on his LinkedIn profile. It has enormous power in terms of letting people know where he's going to be. And even if you go somewhere for passion, like I went to see Guns N' Roses twice in Hong Kong, people actually saw that and then met me in Guns N' Roses because they had the same passion as me. So it's communicating where you are and letting that go viral and making sure that people know where you are so you can meet them. So don't do things like this. A lifelong passion for problem solving, because that doesn't describe anything. It's not personal about anything at all. This one's even worse. Business leader. They're all business leaders. It doesn't describe you. It's not personal enough. It needs to be something more interesting. But I like this. This is the love doctor. So the love doctor has what he does. Affair of the person. How do you have an affair by yourself? I'm not sure how you do that. And then he helps you get your lover back. Then he helps you divorce. But he's obviously branched out from just being a love doctor. And now he sorts out your business problems. And then he studied your study problems. So he really is kind of branching out to different areas. But my favorite service that Love Doctor does is very, very niche service. Be free from enemy / second wife. It's a very niche service, that. Get rid of a second wife business. What happened to the first wife? What about third wives? And then this guy here is out of work. So LinkedIn tell me that Peter is celebrating a work anniversary at out of work. And not only that, LinkedIn tell me to congratulate him for being out of work for 4 years. It's the danger of doing silly things on LinkedIn, and he's not very amused by the fact that people keep congratulating for being out of work for 4 years. And don't do this. Don't be endorsed for skills like PowerPoint, Excel, and telling the time. Because people assume you know how to do this in 2019. And don't be endorsed for this either, especially if you're English. You can't be endorsed for awesomeness and general awesomeness. Only Americans can be endorsed for this. because only they know what it means.